So please join me in welcoming me here on stage, Mr. Bruno Jaspaert, CEO of the Deep Sea Industrial Zones, and he will deliver his keynote address, Making Sustainability Happen in Industrial Zones.
Good afternoon. This is how I looked before I came to Vietnam. Thank you for the introduction. I am Bruno. Contrary to Sarah, we do not do advice at Deep Sea, we do sustainable growth. And I have, if all goes well, 25 minutes to explain you in 25 slides how we actually do that. Do not worry, I'm not selling you anything, I'm just going to tell you what we do, and then you can have a go at it, all right? Now, I hope that my technological skills are good enough to make this work, but I have a dark force in the corner called Chang who told me everything will be all right. So let's start. It's time to wake up because I have the most unfortunate spot. You all have been eating, you feel asleep, so you need to wake up. This is why you need to wake up. At Deep Sea, at the core of everything we do, we believe that if something is not profitable, by definition, it cannot be sustainable, which is, for some people, very controversial. Allow me to explain why we believe that. If something is sustainable, but it's not profitable, the moment that the protector is going away is the moment that that project will be shelved. It's the first project that the shareholders will decide to drop. As long as you can prove that something has a return, monetary or otherwise, for the company, then it's worthwhile to continue. And that is why we have approached sustainability efforts in a very different way, I believe. So they have their own P&L, they have their own return, whether that's a monetary return or a publicity return, or something that we need to do to be compliant with the law. Now, the good news show starts now. There is only one country in the whole world today that has dared to integrate in its own law framework, Decree 35, the concept of an eco-industrial park. I was looking for my words there to be politically correct. And that is some time ago, GIS together with UNIDO have decided to set up a new international standard for industrial parks to ensure that industrial parks can become the driver behind sustainable growth. In Vietnam, there are 5 zones that are pioneering this standard, and we are one of them. And we've been doing that already for 5 years. Now, you can look it up. There's Google, there's Chat, whatever, GPT, you can do DeepSeek. Decree 35 has a whole chapter on eco-industrial parks. That's the good part. It's in the law. The bad part, we're in Vietnam. The law is not very clear. The law is unfortunately also not defining what are the exact standards. So, how do you do that then? If you decide, I want to give something back, I want to do something more than a normal developer. And what we have decided to do is to adopt the international standard as our goal. We commit that we will, in the end, manage to be in line with the international standard. Today, we have a score of 83% out of the 63 criteria of the international standard. I am not capable to tell you that we will commit to 100% today because 6 out of them are against the law. So in the international standard, 6 things are inside there that Vietnamese law doesn't allow for. Now, we claim to be more than an industrial zone, and it's easy to say that. But I actually happen to believe it. And that is also the reason why I can present you what is standing here. And to come back to what one of my speaker colleagues was saying this morning, there's a very important part here. Yes, we have 3,400 hectares. Yes, we have 5 zones. But we have attracted $8 billion in FDI. $8 billion, of which 7 we managed in the last 7 years. And now I will give the giveaway to my friend this morning. We are more expensive than anybody else. And still we did it. So is it true that people want to have sustainability on their website? Yes. Do they want to put a flag up? Yes. Do they want to pay for it? No one wants to pay for anything. But if you tell the right story and if you walk the talk, I believe Deep Sea proves that you can make a difference. And that is the reason why I stand up and tell our story. Not because I want to sell land. I tell you the secret, we're sold out. So don't worry, it's not a sales pitch. Now, how do you do that? Because I believe what we do in Deep Sea, you can do in your own company. How do you go from goals that are very high and up in the clouds by international organizations like United Nations, down to your own pillars, how to run a company? So there are a number of goals within the eco-industrial park standard that are crucial. How you manage your zone, how you protect the environment, something we discussed also this morning. What do you do in terms of social infrastructure, the communities around you? What do you give back to those communities? And can you become economic efficient? Which for us is core, as I explained to you at the beginning. And out of that, we defined our own 4 P's structure. You know them all: planet, people, profitability, and partnership. And why partnership? I'll come to that in a minute. If you look for each column, you will see now what it stands for. The planet we should take care of. But what that does mean for us. So below the deep sea wave, you can see what that means for us. In deep sea, every department has a budget. You all have budgets in your company, but we have a separate budget, a carbon budget. Every department has a maximum amount of carbon emissions it's allowed to spend. And just like a financial budget, if you overspend, you come and go see the boss. That's me. And then I yell, or I tell them, you've been naughty, and we try to overcome that. As a consequence of doing this, we have managed to reduce our carbon emissions already by 40%, just by making our department heads aware of what they're doing. We do the same with waste water, with energy, with water efficiency. Basically, it's a mindset. I believe somebody else this morning said the same. It's a mindset, it's a choice. Secondly, also discussed already this morning, people. Without people, I can tell you, nothing happens. So you have to take care of the people. And if the people understand your mission and your targets, the rest will follow. It's easy once the people are on board. So we have a deep sea care program where we look after our people. We have a program where we look after children less of families in the communities that surround us. We have a talent development program, but we also try to put a lot on education. We try to give back in knowledge to our own people. Third, I discussed already, profit, the dark elephant in the room. But we're a company. You need to make profit. But I'll tell you the secret. It's not because you're sustainable that you make less profit. It is true what was said this morning. If you want to be sustainable, in my view, you will be more expensive. It will cost you more money. But that doesn't mean that your profitability needs to go down. Deep sea charges a premium, and that premium is based on what we deliver in terms of sustainability. And last but not least, sustainability you cannot achieve alone. From the talk this morning from IKEA, you heard it. You need to work together with your suppliers and your customers, with international organizations that can use you as a guinea pig. That is why we have the 4th P, in which we invest a lot of time and energy, which equals also money. Now, how to do this? Many people told me, why are you standing on the stage explaining it to your competition? Because it's clear, it's not easy. and we're very open and upfront. Take your phone, put the QR code in, free of charge, our sustainability reports. Everything we do is there. What we don't do, it's there. What we are going to do is also there. Because sustainability starts with something very simple. You measure. You measure what you do today, and you promise to the outside world what you're going to do tomorrow. That's the core of sustainability, to drive your improvement process. We are the only industrial zone today who has a third-party audited sustainability report already 2 years in a row. If you have any questions, we have a whole department that can answer it. Now, I can talk, but actually I should not talk. I should give you examples. I should tell you how we do this. So, we have customers, and unfortunately they create waste, a lot of plastic waste. So what we've done in 2019, as a first attempt to become step by step more practical and pragmatical, we started to collect the plastic waste. We cleaned it up, we shredded it, we regranulated it, and then we added in the concrete mix of our roads. And we replaced bitumen by plastic. This is not new, it's not novel, it exists. It's a process that has been developed in the 60s by an oil and gas company. There are pluses and minuses, but the plus is it's a better road. It's a more durable road because it's more flexible. And another plus is that it's more impact proof. That means that heavy trucks don't damage your road anymore. The downside is that there is criticism that it might create microplastics over time. So what we've done, we made an agreement with the local authorities to do one road. We build about 7 to 9 kilometers of road every year. So we build one road, and we will monitor for 5 years if there are any microplastics coming from this road. Now, final verdict after 5 years. We measure less microplastics than before, because before there was more microplastic pollution in the area where we were than today. So right now, it's a blank. We will do it again. We'll build a new road and do it all over again. But it's a way how you can make a difference. Secondly, we are more than an industrial zone, so we also have a farm. So we bought this land, 3.2 hectares, as a trial farm, and that farm is 100% organic. That means everything we do ourselves. We build it up from a depleted rice paddy to an organic farm that it is today. That means that we create our own fertilizer. All the animals are fed with things that are grown in that farm. And what we do with that farm is this. Every month, people in our company that earn less than 15 million VND get twice a month such a basket, free of charge. Because we believe we should make a difference for our people. That is 100% organic food, vegetables, fruit, chicken, quail, fish, prawns, you name it. We just want to prove it works. Today, that farm is already break even. Tomorrow, that farm will deliver these same food packages to our customers in our zone. And they can offer that to their personnel. And the day after tomorrow, we want this farm to become 10 times bigger with the support of the World Bank as a scale-up project to prove that you can actually increase yield by stepping away from monoculture. We also started to believe that we should rely only on ourselves. So we have made a commitment that we want to become independent in terms of energy. The first start was in 21. And we decided to create our own electricity company. We distribute our own energy, and our whole electricity network is behind the meter, which allowed us, independent from the PDP, to start with renewable energy projects. This project now has proven its value over the past 4 years and is going through a rapid scale up at this very moment. We also built a windmill. Again, a windmill inside an industrial zone is very difficult because there's no building code for it. If you talk to the government, even a problem can become an opportunity So it's been a trial for the whole of Vietnam, and after 5 years, hopefully, there will be an official building code that other people can do the same. And then perhaps something where I can teach you most, because one of the members of NordCham is actually my biggest disappointment in my life in Vietnam. 7 years, one disappointment. Lego. Lego really liked deep sea, and we liked Lego. But there's always a but at the end, right? We were not insurable. Actually, to a certain extent, anybody on the whole coast of Vietnam is not insurable, and anybody in the delta of Ho Chi Minh or Haiphong is not insurable, because those two deltas are in the top 10 of most prone areas in the world to flood within the next 50 years, which is not a very good statistics. And if an insurance company sees that, they say, why on earth would you set a factory up in such an area? So in the end, Lego could not insure its factory, and they decided to go somewhere else. Not necessarily better, just somewhere else. And I lost them, or we lost them. So we decided to learn, because somebody said this morning, we should learn by failing. I can tell you, to become sustainable, we've been failing a hell of a lot. Headaches. We lost a customer, and we decided to become better. And we went to the guys that know everything about flooding and nature-based risks, the Dutch. Because you might not know, but the Dutch actually live underwater, right? So a bit similar like Vietnam. So we took on board a Dutch engineering agency and asked them to make a design that makes us resist any catastrophic event that occurs only once in 100 years. And on top of that, we asked them to design it in such a way that it includes also a medium scenario on climate change. It cost us not an arm, but an arm and a leg, because they're Dutch and they're good, I guess. And then my shareholders asked me why. Because it was really expensive. Just the design, not building it. And the why was, of course, yes, guys, we lost Lego. Insurance is not backing us up. But for Asian customers, that's not so important, seemingly, because they just say, I'll make the land higher. But for European customers, it's quite difficult. And then we came up with this design, and we came up with the final concept that actually that design does not only cost us money, it also can bring us money. Because the Dutch, their land is below sea level. And now today, the law in Vietnam tells you, for any plot that needs to be developed, what is the height? 3 meters above sea level, 4 meters, 2.5 meters. It's ingrained in the master plan. So we decided to make a new design where we went down. So normally the only way is up. In deep sea, we went down. Less land. The roads even lower. Why? If there's now a storm, the road is the emergency channel to evacuate water. No flooding anymore in a factory. Because we lowered the lay of the land, we need less sand. This morning there was a very interesting statement that sand is running out by Christopher. He was very kind. I can tell you the real truth. In 10 years from now, there's no more sand in Vietnam. We have just done a survey to start barging between Haiphong and Hanoi. Average depth of the river, 7 meters. On paper. Today it's 14 meters. Illegal mining. It's everywhere. There's not enough sand. It's the new gold. So if we save in our designs sand, that's a reason for the government perhaps to change their master plan. And then we decided to also start using nature, which we also heard this morning. So if we need to build a dike, fine, we can build a dike, but perhaps we build a dike that is a bit lower. And we actually plant trees before, so that the waves crash into the trees, and we don't have overtopping. And then perhaps we can also make some rock islands that ensure that sand will be captured, and that again will ensure that the dike is more protected. And that, in the end, allows us also to tell everyone that we make a difference. What I'm doing today. I'm quite proud of this because nobody else can tell you this story. Nobody else is doing this. I have 5 minutes. to now explain you what is the outcome of this. 5. This is how we do it. A green zone in Vietnam is no longer a green zone. It looks like a swamp. It looks like the original lay of the land. It acts as a retention buffer. We ask our customers to actually do the same in their own little developments. And if they want to build the same as the customer on the left side, Tesa did, we will take the costs. We will carry out the digging and install the pond. In return, we will reuse the sand somewhere else. And that creates enough buffer for our zone to withstand that 1 in 100-year event. Now, of course, you're all sitting here, Bruno, good pitch. I don't believe that for a second. But unfortunately, I can prove it. I can walk the talk because there is something that happened to Haiphong called Yagi last year. 85% of all the trees unrooted, all the streets in Haiphong flooded for a few days, no electricity, you know the story. I will show you now what is the impact of Yagi in the lowest street or road that we have in Haiphong, of the zone that we designed according to the new principles. So, to be clear, I'm not cheating you. If you look up, when we filmed this is the security camera, this is the moment that the winds were howling at 185 kilometers an hour, measured by our own windmill. This is the road. So there's nothing to see. So it's not impressive, but that's the whole point. There is no water. In the rest of Haiphong, we had up to 1.5 meters flood. The whole zone was dry. Not one single factory got flooded. Some lost their roofs. I can't take anything on that one because I didn't build their roofs. Some lost their walls, but nobody got waterlogged. Not one. And that is because we stuck our neck out and we said, we'll make a difference. We'll turn our failure of convincing one of the most sustainable companies in the world to come to our zone into something that we can use for the future. We've done many more things. We offer free of charge energy audits together with partners and try to implement then the final results. And that delivers money. Money that doesn't come to us, but money that goes back to the customers because they don't have to pay electricity. They have saved electricity. And then waste. So I need to use one very valuable minute on waste. Waste is very dark in Vietnam. You need a waste permit to collect waste. And you need many powerful friends to have a waste permit. I have friends, but perhaps not that powerful. But I have a lot of waste. We have 186 companies creating waste. We also have a farm, and that farm can use a lot of waste. So we are trialing right now a project where we collect biodegradable waste and we make compost and use that for our green zones, or we use it for our farm. And in return, our farm gives back to our people. Now, how do you do that? Was a question this morning. By being creative, by not signing a waste collective scheme, but by signing that you actually take a resource. Because as soon as you use the word waste in Vietnam, the law governs. No exception. So we are taking prime resources, which other people could consider waste, into something else, which is called compost. And then, to come back to what was being discussed this morning, I disagree that there are no alternatives to sand reclamation. We have already two. There's an enormous amount of dredging happening. We are the prime receiver of dredging mud in the north of Vietnam. Anybody that is dredging, we are willing to take it. We do a check whether it's good. If it's not polluted, we will take it. It takes a lot longer to make the land, to create the land, because it's wet. But it is something that we actually give back because we take waste, but in reality, we turn it into soil. The other one to the right side is even more interesting. There's a fertilizer plant, a chemical fertilizer plant, that makes, as a byproduct, phosphorus gypsum, which is quite nasty as a product. So we set up together with the local authorities and that company a project where we mix it with 4 other materials and it becomes inert. We've been testing it out. This year we will use it for the first time as the road bedding material for roads, but it's actually quite good material. And after that we will apply with MOC to get it approved. So we created a new possibility to recycle 4.7 million cubic meters of waste that are piled up in Haiphong. We do many more things. We recycle wastewater, but I should not discuss that now because I'm out of time. We also build green infrastructure, like some other people said. But I wanted to reach out to you because it's also what we do today. We should put people at the middle. Sustainability doesn't happen alone. So we created Connect. And Connect is a program where every investor is asked to explain what are his waste streams and what are his prime material streams. And as a helicopter, we try to introduce them to each other so that they can feed off each other and that they can actually help grow each other's business. That is something that we consider our duty, and that is how I personally believe you can make people see the light that together is really better, that you can find common benefits by striving for the same sustainable growth model that we advocate. We have also many, many other things, but to claim you with a conclusion, why? Why is it not yet a must-have? I heard this morning it costs too much money. I believe it's true. But my reply is, you will get it back. Quite often, it's very difficult to convince your shareholders. I agree, huge headache. You saw it yourself, I looked a lot better in the past. There's this greenwashing position that everybody keeps taking, and I was so happy for that reason, is actually the main reason why I come here. The industry needs to stand up and make a difference. And I'm very happy that NordCham took it upon themselves to create this summit and actually show to each other how you can motivate by showing successful examples. And what is a fourth reason why it's not happening? First-hand experience. Very often, people do not like to change. They do not like to take a risk. They do not like to go out of their comfort zone. And for that, only one thing helps. Tell a story that can make a difference. I am happy that somebody stole my last slide. It requires a mindset shift. Because I agree the same. This presentation was made before the GD of IKEA said this. It needs to change. It needs to click from it costs more to delivering value through sustainability. From short-term, take the money and run, to long-term recurring revenue. And last, but definitely not least, do not exclude anything. Be open to what is new. I overextended, unfortunately, by 3.5 minutes my time allocated to, I'm very sorry, I will not do it again, but I hope at least you're still awake and you learned something new. Thank you very much.
Bruno, please stay with me and allow me to thank you for showing us a brilliant example of how it can be done, and also for giving us a powerful visual reminder of what's possible when commitment meets collaboration. Tue,